Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back into the channel. It is draft day. We got the NFL draft tonight. I am super excited for it. I can't wait, but I'm also a little scared to see what my Packers do. I'm hoping not a quarterback, but we'll see. Right now, I'm doing something that I've never done before, which is create basically a mock draft of the NFL draft. I've done fantasy drafts and mock fantasy drafts, but I haven't done a mock NFL draft. So I'm doing that for the first time right now, and I'm recording it. So let's hop right into it. With the number one pick, we got the Bengals, and it's pretty obvious. They're going to go with Joe Burrow. I don't really have too many doubts about that. So we'll go ahead and put it in right there. Next team up is the Redskins. Not really any doubts there either with Chase Young. That's kind of their top need. And, he is the best player in the draft, not Burrow. But obviously the Bengals need a quarterback a bit more than they need a D-end. Next on the list is the Lions. I've heard people say that they might try to trade here. I don't think they will. They lost Darius Slay in the offseason. And even with him, they didn't have a great group of corners. And they've got a really good one on the board here with Jeff Okudah. So that's where they're going to go, out of Ohio State. Next up here is the Giants. Honestly, sticking with the top needs on this website, which is really cool. I'll link the website that I'm using down in the description if you want to do this yourself. But sticking with the top needs that are on here. Offensive tackle, they need one. They're going to get one. Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. Really good player. I think he's the top tackle in the draft. A lot of people agree. Some people say it's Willis. They're both good. And then at the fifth pick, this is one where it's really of late become a real toss-up. Really, besides the past 3 weeks, it's been Tua, the entire time. But Justin Herbert has really snuck up on him, and I don't really know now. I think they're going to go with Tua. I don't think they're really going to switch from what they were seeing all season. So I think they're going to go Tua Tagovailoa there. And then that leaves the sixth pick, where the Chargers, they could go Herbert. I don't think they're going to go Herbert. I think they're going to go with one of the other best players in the draft, possibly the second best player in the draft, Isaiah Simmons. Just insane player out of Clemson. They're going to take him there. And then again, going defense, Derek Brown out of Auburn. He's just a god. There's no other way to put it. He is a god at playing football. So that's where the Panthers go at 7. That's moving on to the Cardinals at 8. And again, offensive tackle. They're going to go with Wills here, kind of the next guy up. Just another solid player, out of Alabama. You can't really go wrong when you're taking, an offensive lineman out of Alabama. That's usually pretty solid. And moving on down to the 9th pick, the Jags. Their top need is a D lineman. One of the, best ones in the draft just went off the board to the Panthers. So I'm looking at their second highest need, cornerback. And they got a really good one right here, C.J. Henderson out of Florida. And that's where they're going to go. He's a really good player, and that's what they need. Kind of same reasoning for a lot of these. For the Browns, I think Becton is the way they're going to go here. I know on this website they have the rankings switched between Becton and Thomas, but I think Becton is the better player, and I think he fits with the Browns really well. Maybe trying to find their replacement for Joe Thomas here out of Louisville. So now we get into the good part with the receivers. We obviously got 3 receivers in this draft that really stand out. And I think the first off the board is going to be from Oklahoma, CeeDee Lamb. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I think he fits the Jets really well. I think, he's going to be a really good weapon for Sam Darnold. Finally get him kind of an offense to work with, get him some guys to throw to, get him some weapons. And maybe they'll have some success this year, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they'll contend the Bills for the division title, because we all know the Patriots ain't winning that. I hope. Next up is the Raiders. They need a wide receiver too, and I think they're going to go with the number 2 guy, Jerry Jeudy, in the draft. My personal belief. That's where they go out of Alabama. And then I think it is going to happen. We are going to have back-to-back receivers right here. I think the Niners are going to go with Henry Ruggs. The way I kind of thought about that pick earlier, you see a lot of times the teams that are picking later in the draft, in the first round at least, that did better the previous season, a lot of times they'll go defense, or at least they won't go skill positions, particularly offensive skill positions. But the Niners, they have the 31st pick as well as the 13th. So I think with the 31st, they're going to, have more of that mentality. But up here at 13, they're going to be a lot more aggressive, and they're going to go after Henry Ruggs. After that, moving on to 14, you got Tom Brady. And Jameis Winston wasn't able to do too much. Part of the reason is because of the offensive line. They don't have a great offensive line, and I think they're going to improve on that there, especially since you got a true pocket passer in Tom Brady who literally cannot move anywhere. So they're going to go Andrew Thomas there at 14. Next up is the Broncos at 15. One of their top needs is a D lineman, and I think they had a really good one here with Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina. I think he would fit really well there, and you pair him up, with Von Miller. I think that could be a really good defense there. Or not. They are picking 15th after all. But we'll see. You never really know. You never know how things are going to turn out. Moving on to 16. I think the Falcons are going to go with Kayvon Chaisson here. A lot of people are saying that he's going to go to the Cowboys. I think the Falcons are going to take him one spot ahead of Dallas. Obviously, just another great player from LSU. Again, there's so many in this draft, and that are going to go in the first round. That takes us to Dallas, where they don't have their guy anymore. They wanted Chaisson. He's not there. So they're going to go a different direction but stay on defense with Xavier McKinney. Again, out of Alabama, you rarely go wrong. They'll see what they can get out of a new safety. Moving on now to the second pick of the first round for the Dolphins. And something they're looking for is an edge rusher. And there's a good edge rusher out there. It's Gross Matos out of Penn State. A lot of people are thinking he's going to go in the 20s. I think he could go here. He fits the team, and second most important position in football. Probably not going to go wrong there. Moving on now to the Raiders. And they already got a receiver with their first pick in the first round. And their second need, at least here, is cornerback. And there's a pretty good cornerback still on the board, and that's A.J. Terrell. I think that's where they're going to go out of Clemson. That's where they need help. And I think they really are liking Terrell. I think I've seen him go to the Raiders in a couple of mock drafts. And he's going there in mine. Next up is the Jags. They got a corner. And they have Gardner Minshew. But they are not strong at the quarterback position. And when they drafted Gardner Minshew, I'm pretty sure he was drafted. I think he was. I don't know. When they drafted Gardner Minshew, they weren't drafting their franchise quarterback. I think they try and draft a franchise quarterback right here with Justin Herbert out of Oregon. Obviously a solid player. A lot of people think he could go number 5 or just anywhere else in the top 10. I think that could happen, but I see him falling all the way to 20. To the Jags, I think that fits really well. And I think that's a place where he could have, he could become their franchise quarterback. Moving on now to the Eagles. They need a receiver. Their fans want a receiver. They're going to get a receiver. They're going to get Justin Jefferson, again out of LSU. I think that fits them really well. I think he's the best, the 4th best receiver in this draft, without a doubt. Moving to 22, into the NFC North, for the first Viking selection, they have 2 within 4 picks here. And their 2 top needs are corner and wide receiver. With their first pick right here, they're going to adjust the corner position, and they're going to get Jalen Johnson out of Utah. Really, really solid player from the Pac-12. And, obviously, again, one of their top needs. And it's a guy that might get selected in the next 2, and they might not have a chance to get him at 25, whereas they probably will have a good receiver still on the board at 25. So anyway, moving on to 23, I've heard a lot of people say that this is like the biggest pick in the draft. I don't get that. Here's my logic. For the past 20 years, they have had Tom Brady. They have not needed a quarterback, and they have not needed weapons because they've been able to figure stuff out with Brady and Belichick. Belichick is still there. Brady is not. I think without Brady, not only do they need a quarterback, and they're looking for a franchise quarterback, I think they also have kind of a new team, kind of attitude about the draft. I think they're going to be a lot more aggressive here, and I think they're going to try to get a franchise quarterback immediately in Jordan Love out of Utah State. I've heard people say that he's the best passer. He's the most accurate passer in the draft. Maybe, maybe not. I don't really know. But definitely a solid player, definitely a first-round player. And I think that's where the Patriots are going to go. And we'll see. Next up at 24 is the Saints. They could use a receiver. They could use a corner. They could also use a linebacker. And there's a really good linebacker out of, guess what school? It's LSU. Patrick Queen. A really good linebacker that if he falls to 30, I want my Packers to take Patrick Queen. But I don't think he's going to get to 30. I think the Saints are going to take him right here. And that brings us to the second pick of the Vikings. I said they have 2 big needs, corner and wide receiver. They address corner with their first pick. With their second pick, they're going to go receiver. And I think they go all the way down. I think he's a lot lower on the list. I know there's Laviska Shenault, there's Michael Pittman Jr., there's Brandon Ayuk up here. It's really just take your pick. Who do you like the most? I think T. Higgins is the guy. I think T. Higgins has, throughout the process, of the combine and all of this, has really set himself apart, and I think he's the guy. I think that's who the Vikings are going to go with. And hopefully, just try to replace Stephon Diggs on the offense. I don't think that'll happen. Diggs is a good player, maybe a little overrated, maybe not, but usually not able to replace, a guy like that in your rookie year. But that's what they'll hope for. After them at 26 is the Dolphins again, 3rd pick of the first round, and their second need on here is offensive tackle, and there's a good one for them to take. It's Josh Jones out of Houston. He's there, they take him. That's what they want, that's what they get. And then right after that, we're going to go back-to-back offensive tackles with Ezra Cleveland going to Seattle. out of Boise State. Again, just fits a team need and further trying to protect Russell Wilson so he doesn't have to, scramble around like crazy every single play, which he is really good at. Moving on to 28, a few different ways that the Ravens could go here, but their top need is linebacker, so they're going to go with a linebacker, even though he's listed as an edge on here. I don't really know why. They could go Epinesa. I think they're going to go Zach Bond. Zach Bond, he's a linebacker. I don't know why it says edge. They're going to go Zach Bond out of Wisconsin. Epinesa is a guy that I think could go in the first round, but I don't think he really fits here. I think the Ravens, need a linebacker, to put it simply. So that's where they're going to go at 28. Then you have the Titans at 29, and looking at best available and team needs, I think they're going to go corner, and I think they're going to go Christian Fulton, if I can find him on here. There he is, out of LSU again. Honestly, you could just transfer all of the seniors from LSU, and that would be your first round. But that's where they're going to go there. It just fits. And trying to keep things going there. Now to my team, the Packers. They need a wide receiver. They need a tight end. There really aren't any good tight ends in the draft, which sucks. Says interior D-line. We don't really need interior D-line. We could use it. But, I think our biggest needs are wide receiver and linebacker, which is, 5th on this list. But I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to go linebacker here. That's the kind of team we are. Again, kind of the same reasoning I said earlier with the Niners. Good teams picking late in the first round often go defense, and they often do not go with skill positions. I think they're going to get a guy they really like, Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. Really fast, big linebacker, and they don't have any linebackers that are great. They have outside linebackers, not inside linebackers. That's what they get in Kenneth Murray. I would be really happy with that pick. And then moving on to pick 31 with the second Niners pick. And as I said earlier, being, not skill position, not offense, more when you're picking later in the draft, that's what they're going to do here. They're going to look to the corner position, and they're going to go for Trayvon Diggs. And I think I would have to scroll a little bit to get there. Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama. I think that fits there really, really well. Obviously, that Richard Sherman. I think Diggs is someone who could go there and learn from Sherman a bit for a few years, and then really, start to take over, hopefully, for them. I mean, not hopefully for me. I don't want the Niners to be good, but, for the Niners, they hope he'll be good. And then we are at the last pick, the final pick of the first round. It's the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, and they need a corner. They're not going to take a corner. They need an interior O-lineman. That's what they're going to take. They're going to get the center out of Michigan, Cesar Ruiz. Really good pickup there. He is a really good player, and even though he's going so late in the first round, from everything I've seen, he is a surefire consensus first rounder. So there you go. There's my entire draft with Burrow going 1, Young 2, Okuda 3. Tua goes to the Dolphins. I have CeeDee Lamb going first, and there are 3 receivers in a row. I think Justin Herbert goes to the Jags right there. I think Jordan Love goes to the Patriots. But I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. I'll probably be wrong. I didn't do any trades here. I think there definitely could be some trades. But we'll just have to see. I'm super excited. I hope y'all are excited too. And make sure you watch the draft tonight. And that's about it for now. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope y'all are staying safe as always. And I'll see you next time.